United States is seeking a peace that heals. We have had many armistices in Indochina. We want a peace that will last. And therefore, it is our firm intention in our relationship to the Democratic Republic of Vietnam to move from hostility to normalization, and from normalization to conciliation and cooperation. And we believe that under conditions of peace, we can contribute throughout Indochina to a realization of the humane aspirations of all the peoples of Indochina. And we will, in that spirit, perform our traditional role of helping people realize these aspirations in peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former Secretary of State, Dr. Henry Kissinger.
Was the last one?
Yes, sir. Your question.
Mr. Kissinger, I was a South Vietnamese soldier who spent 10 years in communist prison thanks to the Paris Agreement that you signed with Hanoi in 1973. 47 years ago, you assured my President Thieu that you would support, you would send troops to help our nation, our country, to defeat the North Vietnamese if they invade Vietnam. But you did nothing. And the result is that Vietnam fought the communist Hanoi. And I expect that you should answer the question, what we learned from Vietnam War, that we would never betray any ally that depend on us and trust us very much. Thank you.
I have great sympathy for these questions from Vietnamese. They had a right to think that we had promised them support through a number of administrations, including the one in which I served. When Vietnam was collapsing, it was impossible to convince the Congress to pass any additional funds. We're talking now about 1975. There were 35 other nations that had signed on to the agreement when it was made in 1973. We appealed to all of them, and none of them was willing to act. It was one of the saddest moments of my life, and all of us who were, and the day of the evacuation of Saigon was one of the saddest moments of my life and of all of us who had seen the dedication of Vietnamese, the dedication of those people who served there, a little of which you heard in the letters that the two Johnson children read. I have sympathy for your question, and I hope no other American leader of its time gets asked similar questions. But the fundamental failure was the division in our country. Without that, we could have managed it.
Yes, sir.
Do you know how to turn it on, or is it work?
Dr. Kissinger, you have made your mark on history. What will history say about Henry Kissinger?
I have no obsession about this. I had the good fortune of being able to come to the United States when many of the people with whom I grew up were killed in Germany. So I've always been deeply grateful to this country, and I know what it represents to the peace in the world. I've been lucky in being able to execute my concerns as my profession. And so I'm not involved in what I'm doing in order to get history written about me. There is an extensive record, and some people, and it will be judged. Although I must say, the mass of material that is produced now in the internet age, I'm not so sure whether you can say history will come to a fair judgment. Anyway, that is not my concern. I try to do the best I could, and that's all I can say.
That's all anyone can say. We are not only grateful to you, Dr. Kissinger, for being our honored guest tonight, but for serving your country in World War II. We have many veterans out there, including yourself, and I would ask now that you stand and be recognized by this audience, please. Thank you for your service, Dr. Kissinger. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Thank you all.